Hey, this is the homework I assigned, this pink worksheet. It just has 8 cylinders on it. You're supposed to calculate the volume of each cylinder. So let's get the formula on the paper. It's not on here, so there's a couple ways you might have remembered it. The easiest way, I think, is volume equals pi times the radius squared times height. Looking at it this way helps you remember that what you're doing is finding the area of the circular base. That's what this part right here is. And then if you think about that being like one layer of the cubic units, like we were talking about with that box coming out of the whiteboard, then you multiply that by the height to see how many layers would fit inside the cylinder, and that's how you calculate its volume. So volume equals pi r squared times height. Be careful because some of these give you the diameter instead of the radius, right? If the dotted line goes all the way across the cylinder, that's diameter. If the dotted line only goes halfway across the base, then that's radius. So I'll do a few of these with you so you can see how I do them, and you can check your answers against mine, and then I'll leave the rest to you. So might as well start with number 1. I see that this is a diameter of 12 feet, and so the radius is half of that. So that means the radius equals 6 feet. And so I'm just going to follow the formula like a set of instructions. It says to do pi, which we're using 3.14 for pi, times the radius squared, so 6 squared, and then times the height, which I see is 9 feet. I'm not putting any units in my calculations, but I will put units on my answers when I'm done. I'm using parentheses to separate the numbers to mean multiplication. You could use dots instead. I just prefer parentheses. I think it's always safest to start with your exponent first, so I'm going to do the 6 squared first. That's 6 times 6, which is 36, but I'll punch it in there anyways. And then it doesn't matter really where you go from here next. You could multiply by 3.14, you could multiply by 9 next. I'll just go with 3.14. Oops, did I mess up? Okay, let me just clear it out. So 3.14 times, I already did 6 times 6, so it was 36. So times 36 and times 9. So I get 1,017.36 feet cubed. It's cubed because this is the third power. Volume is a 3-dimensional measurement, so we're measuring how much space this takes up in 3 dimensions. Also, because we did feet times feet here, this was 6 feet times 6 feet times 9 feet. We had 3 factors of feet in our calculation that I just didn't write in there. And so we wind up with feet to the third power, or feet cubed, as our unit. All right, I think I'll jump down here to number 4. This one's a little bit easier because they give us the radius. We don't have to divide a diameter by 2. So I'm just going to follow the formula again. It's pi times the radius squared, so that's 5 squared, times the height, which is 10. And I know this seems a little bit weird because this one is like laying on its side, but this is still the height and this is still the radius. Just because it's like a can that got knocked over or whatever doesn't change like where the parts are in the figure. So what we have here is 3.14 times 5 squared, which is 25. I can do that one in my head. And then I'm supposed to multiply that by 10. So I can do a good chunk of this one in my head, actually. 3.14 times 25 times 10, that's 250. So I really only need the calculator for this last part. And really, I could probably do this last part without the calculator too. But 250 times 3.14. I hit plus there at the end instead of equals. That's probably right, but I'm going to double check myself. 250 times 3.14 equals, yep. So 85 yards cubed. because they gave us our measurements in yards, but we're in 3 dimensions now, so we have yards cubed. All right, and then I'll do one last one. I'll jump over here to number 6, another one where it's sort of laying down. So we have a radius of 6, so I'm going to do pi times the radius squared, that's 6 squared, so that's, we already did a 6 squared up here, so I know that that's 36. And then times the height, which is 8. So I'll do my squaring first. I have 36 times 8 times 3.14 equals 904.32 inches cubed. All right, I think you guys can do the rest without my help.